Hi, I wanted to introduce what I learned about parenting in the 21st century. My name is Victoria Chaperon, so we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so what does it mean to be a parent, first of all? So we got to get that out of the way before we can answer any other questions. So what does it mean to be a parent? According to sources and in the Bible and just human nature in general, I would think, to become a parent is to become a better human because you're no longer taking care of yourself. You're now taking care of another human being and you are responsible for structuring their life pretty much. So it introduces a new type of love, a new everlasting love, which as a Christian we know what that feels like. So you're now caring for this person. You learn to really appreciate life pretty much, and not in a selfish way. You have new responsibilities such as taking care of the child, making sure that they go to school, feeding them, waking up at late hours at night to do so, change them, changing times that you could be, I don't know, working out or going out with friends, eating out, to stay in with your family pretty much. So you have new responsibility, you have new faith once you have a child. I mean, I personally never had a child yet, but I hear that your faith changes a little because now you have someone else instead that is being looked over. So it's not only you looking over it, but you find new faith in God. You find new scriptures. As what I hear, you view the world differently. So having kids for the choice of having them and for not working or farming reasons are also why what it means to be a parent. So in nowadays we decide to have kids because we want to have kids, because we think am I ready to have kids? Do we want kids? I think it's time for us to teach them what I know and what I've been through life, instead of we need to have as many kids because farming season's coming, or because we need more work because what it was back then. So that's one of the definitions I have. So what factors should be considered when deciding to be a parent? Well, the first and most worth is financial awareness. You must really decide whether you can afford kids in general. So according to the tax costing of raising a child in 2011 to the age of 18 was $295,560,000. So it's really expensive. You have to think about diapers, formula, food, education. Sometimes you got to think about nannies. You have to think about gas. You have to think about a lot of things. So are you available, as well as a bigger home? You can't really have two kids or one kid and live in like a studio apartment. You got to think of other things too. So financial awareness, I believe, is the biggest consideration to deciding when to have kids. Also, working overtime or additional work to pay for the kids, in contrast of having less time with the kids. So if you're working more or you're taking more overtime because you see that you can't afford things for them, then it actually backfires in a way of you get less time with the child. So that's another consideration. So are you going to be taking another job to be paying for the kid? Are you going to be taking overtime at work to be paying for the kid? Are you willing to miss out on some of your child's memories? I mean, that's some consideration you got to look into as well. And then both members of the family have to be on the same page, obviously. Being sure that both are on the same page about parenting styles, religion, and how you will handle the juggling of the work in that home. So like the child care and the housework. So who's going to be taking care of what, who's staying at home, who is taking care of everything pretty much. You have to make sure that you set out responsibilities and boundaries. Another thing to be considered, especially as a woman, is your health. So as a pregnant woman, for pregnancy, you've got to make sure that you have health insurance and that you're constantly going to checkups, because one you may not even know you have something bad, and the child can come out with a deficiency or something. Also, once the child is born, you got to make sure that the child has health insurance, that the child is healthy. So that takes about time to dentist appointments, shots, doctor's appointment, checkups, all that stuff. So you got to make sure that your child is healthy. You got to also be knowledgeable. So knowledgeable about like education programs. Where are you going to put them in? That also has a way of, are we going to be living in a rural area or in an urban area? So a lot of people, what they like to do is they search where the best schools are, and usually where the best schools are where the best neighborhoods are at. So something that to be considered of, which again comes back to financial awareness. Can you afford living in a rural? Can you afford being in an urban? Are you doing educational programs such as private school? Are you doing something like a regular school? So, and then age. As a woman, one must keep in mind when to have kids. We're pretty much in a little time bomb. We're in a time consuming bomb, pretty much. Like, we can't, it's not healthy for us to have kids past a certain age. Okay? And then, how have the trends in parenthood changed? The economy has changed, so basically parenthood had to adjust to that. The economy, work hours are fuller, and education is getting longer, so more people are having kids at a longer age than they were at a younger age. Parent roles have changed. Families are adapting culturally according to their lifestyle. Being a mom is more of like being hands-on, being more of an emotional support, and sometimes they take more of the prime responsibility in the household responsibility. And then as being a dad, they're nowadays are more involved than they were before. They participate more in leisure and sport activities, and they're more of like the rule makers and rule like strict parent type of thing. More single parents. We're seeing more single parents than we were 40 years ago, and choice of being childless. So we're seeing more people with no children whatsoever. So that's something that has changed throughout time, as well as single mothers by choice. That you obviously get single mothers by divorce, but you get single mothers such as women tend to be in their 30s or 40s or middle upper class, and they want to be single, and that usually has to do with what they're where they're working. So are they higher in their power of work, so they just feel like they're more in power. What are some advantages to parenting in the 21st century? You get higher education, which means higher paying jobs. So you get more of a stability, more of a free leeway of, again, that financial awareness. You get to spend more time with your kid because you have a higher paying job. And with higher paying jobs, usually health comes in, and also vacation time, which pregnancy time comes in. You can spend more time with your kids. More information is being found on the internet as to how to parent, or using helping hands, or how to become a good mom, how to become a good dad. So there's more information out there for people to use. And then there's more entertainment, even though sometimes that could be bad. So like technology wise, there's like Netflix, there's movie theaters, like there's just different, the technology has changed, so it's being put in to parenting as well. And then it goes into conveniences. So prepared foods are being more popular. Nannies are more popular than they were. After school programs for people that can't find nannies or they work a little late. And then we have the sandwich effect, according to the text. There are more households that we are seeing that have older parents, or their grandparents are living in the home, so they can play an advantage in parenting, because if they're at home and the parents are working, they can take care of the children, and they're also giving generation to generation traditions in there as well. Okay. What are some challenges of parenting in the 21st century? Well, technology is one of the biggest challenges to overcome today. You have social media, Facebook, all that stuff. You have computers, you have cell phones, you have iPads. We're constantly seeing more people not communicating with each other, but more like in their technology and empowered in there. So that's one of the biggest challenges to overcome today. Working role versus parenting role. Sometimes it can be hard to break away from your working role and becoming a parent. It comes again to that individual versus new love kind of thing. So now you're, instead of taking care of one person, you're taking care of 2 or 3, you know. So it's breaking away from that working role and parenting role. Single parents are more likely to occur for mate selection reasons or divorce. So again, this goes back to being a single parent. Those 30s and 40s moms that are deciding to be single, they find it hard to find a mate to become a parent with. So they feel like they don't need anybody. They are good enough and they need a kid. And then divorce obviously is a lot higher than it used to be. And then you have some of the challenges right now are health insurances. It's not as easy, it's not as affordable as it was. So that's another challenge. And safety. We're constantly seeing shootings, we're constantly seeing rapings, we're constantly seeing just terrible things in the world. So as a parent, you see, well, my child can't walk 3-4 blocks after school. Somebody has to pick them up because of their safety. Okay, I'm running out of time, so I have to. All right, I can keep talking. So for safety reasons, you have to, some people get nannies, some people get families to help them. And back then, I remember that I would walk miles after school and they would be fine. Playing outdoors too is dangerous now. Going outside on the bike, you have to be watched all the time because of everything that's going on. So those are some challenges that we're seeing. And I'm sorry if it was kind of, because I'm done with the presentation. I'm sorry if it was a little rushed. I only have 15 minutes with the Screensomatic, so I had to make sure that I put everything at once. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and those are the stuff that I found. Thank you.